Coming up, I'm going to be giving my reaction to one of the worst takes I have seen this offseason so far, and it's coming in from a Buccaneers fan. I'm going to break down what he had to say here in just a moment. All revolves around this guy, Alvin Kamara. But before we dive into that, I just want to get the gauge of the Who Dat Nation. What are your expectations for Alvin Kamara this season? With the first year of Kellen Moore being the head coach, I think that this is going to be a really, really good season for Alvin Kamara. My expectations, 1,000 rushing yards. What about you? Get in the comments section. So known Buccaneers fan and PFF analyst Trevor Sikkema, he had a write-up listing the top running backs across the National Football League, and it was pretty atrocious what he had to say in regards to Alvin Kamara. But before I dive into what he said about Alvin Kamara, I just kind of want to show you the rankings of what he listed in his top 10 running backs. You can see on your screen Bijan Robinson at number 3. He's a good running back. 3 feels a little rich, maybe closer to 5 or 6. Maybe that's just me, having loser talk as a Saints fan. I don't know. But I just have a hard time sitting here saying all 10 of these guys, including guys who aren't even on this list that are still higher than Alvin Kamara, including Kenneth Walker, James Cook, Ashton Jeanty, who hasn't even taken an NFL snap yet, Chuba Hubbard of the Carolina Panthers, Joe Mixon, Tony Pollard, and Aaron Jones are just a couple other names that were ahead of Alvin Kamara, but ranked 20th. Oh my goodness. Trevor Sikkema listed Alvin Kamara as the 20th best running back in the National Football League. You had David Montgomery, Tyler Algier, Isaiah Pacheco, Marion Hampton, Chase Brown, Najee Harris, Quinshad Judkins, Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson, Tyrone Tracy, Brian Robinson Jr., and Travis Etienne ranked behind him. So 12 players ranked behind him. I don't know how you could possibly sit here and say Alvin Kamara is the 20th best running back in the league. That is just such nonsense. But we're going to give Trevor Sikkema a chance to defend himself. It's not going to be a good chance, but a chance nonetheless. Kamara was once the gold standard of versatility. That is true. At one point in time, he was the number 1 running back in the league. He was the definition of being a dual threat running back as a pass catcher and as a rushing threat. Someone who is guaranteed to rack up rushing yards, produce efficiently after contact, and provide fantastic outputs as a receiver. He is still all of those things, just at a less impactful level at 30 years old. Kamara earned a 76.6 PFF rushing grade in 2024. All right, I have a few bones to pick here. First of all, if you're listing your running backs in order because of their Pro Football Focus grades, that is nonsense. I get it. It's a PFF article, so they're going to go by their own metrics. That being said, they're wrong. Alvin Kamara is not the 20th best running back. He is much, much better than number 20. He's coming off one of his best seasons nonetheless. So to sit here and say less impactful at 30 years old, he's coming off of one of the best seasons of his career. He's coming off of his best season since 2020. How could you possibly sit here and say that he's less impactful? I mean, let's just look at Alvin Kamara's best 4 seasons in terms of just pure scrimmage yards. All pass catches, all rushing attempts, all yards and touchdowns gained. 4th best season in his entire career. 2017 is rookie season. Amazing. 2018, incredible. 2020, the dude was on fire. But in 2024, he was still playing really, really, really good football. Not to mention, Alvin Kamara is going to have a huge impact. I know right now he's 29 years old. He will be 30 here in about a month. He'll be 30 by the time the NFL season starts. But I'm so confused as to how you can possibly sit here and say Alvin Kamara is one of the worst running backs in the NFC South. He's the 4th in the NFC South, the 12th in the NFC. That is absurd to me. I mean, honestly, hot take here. Shouldn't be a hot take, but Trevor Sikkema, if you're a Bucs fan, I get it. You have a hatred towards the Saints. Just put that aside here. Alvin Kamara is a great running back. Alvin Kamara will have 1,000 rushing yards this season. He missed 3 games last year, and he was only 50 yards away. He would have done it had he played in any of the last 3 contests of the season. One of those games, he would have had 50 yards guaranteed. I promise you that much. But I just have such a bone to pick with Trevor Sikkema saying that he's the 20th running back. That just could not be further from the truth. Is he top 5? I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not. but 20th, come on, man. He is not a bottom half running back in the National Football League. I have more to get to in a moment. But first, I need to ask you this. I said it's 1,000 yards. I think it's happening. Do you agree with me or do you disagree? Type O for over, type U for under. I'm setting the line at 1,000 rushing yards. Do you think he will finally eclipse 1,000 yards on the ground for the first time in Alvin Kamara's career? Now, coming up, I'm going to discuss not the Saints adding a running back, but why I think Alvin Kamara will thrive in 2025. I personally believe this season is going to be really, really good for AK. Now, really quickly, I got to give you an update on our race to 50K. Not going well, ladies and gentlemen. Not going well. Browns report, they're kicking our butts. We got to kick it up a notch. I need you to subscribe today if you want daily Saints content by fans, for fans. We have a lot of great stuff coming at you this weekend, so I hope you guys are subscribed to get that awesome content, get those videos that we're going to post Saturday, Sunday, and then throughout the week, Monday through Friday, every single week. It's diehard Saints content by fans, for fans. We don't take any time off. We don't stop in the offseason. Even when I'm on PTO, even when I'm on vacation, I'm still giving you guys content. So subscribe today if you want to take down the Browns report and get to 50,000 subs first. So let's talk about why Alvin Kamara is going to thrive in 2025. I got 4 points here that I want to make. The first one, the offensive coaching staff is just better already. Kellen Moore alone is going to make Alvin Kamara a better running back. He's known for appealing to the strengths of his roster. He understands the value that Alvin Kamara has. And on top of that, I do believe that Kellen Moore knows how to utilize a player like Alvin Kamara. He understands how valuable and how talented he truly is. I mean, look at what he said a couple of months ago. He has tons of respect for Alvin as a player. Obviously, one of the premier players in the league. His ability to play in the pass game and in the running game, all the different versatile roles that he can play. Kellen Moore understands that Alvin Kamara is not a one-trick pony. He's not a two-trick pony. He is a player that is the definition of multiple. He can do a lot of different things. And so for those reasons, I believe that Alvin Kamara will succeed just purely based on the coaching staff alone. And not just from a coaching staff of Alvin Kamara standpoint. The offense as a whole, I think, will be better because he will be able to have the offense be more modernized. He will be able to cater to the strengths of the roster. And I think that Alvin Kamara will be a huge, huge factor for the New Orleans Saints offense. On top of that, the offensive line has improved as well. The coaching staff is better. But the guys in the trenches, the big bodies, I think that it's a better offensive line group than it was last year. Again, let's just call a spade here. Those first 2 weeks, Saints offensive line was one of the best in the league. And then Eric McCoy gets hurt. The whole thing goes to shit, and things just go haywire. But with the offensive line now, I think if things shake out and work out like this, it will be great. This is what the offensive line is looking like at OTAs for the first team. The starters, Kelvin Banks at the left tackle spot, Trevor Penning kicking into the interior at the left guard spot, Eric McCoy, one of the best centers in the league, Cesar Ruiz and Talese Fuanga on the right side. And I do believe that these are all players who can succeed in the run game, and they have a history of succeeding in the run game. Fun fact, you guys have a lot to say about Trevor Penning, but he is actually one of the better run blockers in the offensive line here, the third best. Pretty crazy according to Pro Football Focus, not to mention also his continued development is something to monitor. Him moving on to the inside like Mekhi Becton did for the Eagles, I think could be a really, really good impact. A lot of these guys graded really, really well against the run last year. I'm very, very hopeful. Talese Fuanga in year 2, I have high, high hopes there. He's moving back to the right side when he was a left tackle last year. Cesar Ruiz just got to clean up some things, and I'm confident, though, if the offensive line can shake it out and figure things out, especially Trevor Penning, and if they can stay healthy, this is a really, really good squad. So for that reason, I also think Alvin Kamara will have a big year. Now, where would you rank Alvin Kamara among running backs in the National Football League? Top 10 is, I would say 10 or 11 or 12. He's certainly not bottom 15. I can definitely tell you that. But where would you rank Alvin Kamara among all running backs in the National Football League? No disrespect to him. There's just a lot of players that are younger, that have had 1,000+ rushing yards already. And so for those reasons, it is worth noting. Alvin Kamara, I think, is a top 10 running back, maybe not in the higher elite category yet, or still, it's just, trying to not be too unbiased here, or trying to not be unbiased, or I'm trying to be unbiased. I'm not trying to be biased. This is just, let's get to the next point. All right. So the next point that I have to make, he already has had a huge impact, and he is going to continue to have a huge impact. Kellen Moore has been explicit in saying Alvin Kamara will have a big impact for this offense this year. And look, in 2024, he had a phenomenal season. Again, this was the fourth best season in terms of total scrimmage yards and total production of his career. And in 2024, 1,493 yards. That was the most since 2020. I made that point earlier. But he also led the New Orleans Saints in receptions. He also had the second highest rushing yards per game of his career at almost 70 rushing yards. That's pretty solid there. That's good stuff. I'm happy with those numbers. And on top of that, guess what? He was 5 yards short of leading the team in receiving yards, which is absolutely insane when you think about it as a running back. But then, take into account all of the injuries, all of the problems, all of the adversity that the Saints offense had to face last year. Alvin Kamara was the answer to a lot of those problems, as well as Taysom Hill. But, even when Taysom Hill was missing time, AK was a guy that the Saints offense leaned on. He did miss the final 3 games of his season. Could have been much, much better yardage and much, much better stats had he been able to play those last 3 games. Now, last point I want to make. I think he's also going to have a large role. I've said this a few times on this video. I don't think that the New Orleans Saints are in any position to not lean on Alvin Kamara. He will be a crutch for this New Orleans Saints offense for a few reasons. One, it's a young quarterback group between Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler. Maybe not by the age, but in terms of experience. There's not a lot of snaps taken in the National Football League, especially between the quarterback room in New Orleans. So Alvin Kamara will be a big crutch for the quarterbacks as a guy that they can just hand the ball to and say, hey, just make something happen here. We just got to get some yards. The other part of it is running back 2, running back 3, still question marks there. The other part of it is Taysom Hill is not going to be a factor until later in the season. So Alvin Kamara will be needed to lean. The Saints will need to lean on Alvin Kamara heavily. I think that he will have a large impact on this team this year. And for what it's worth, I think that this is going to be one of the most fun seasons we've seen of Alvin Kamara, at least in the last few years. And hopefully he can finally reach that 1,000-yard threshold that a lot of people have been making fun of him for. It does not change the fact that he's still one of the best to ever do it, not just in the black and gold, but in the National Football League's history. So get in the comment section, Saints fans. I want you to type 41 for me. Show some love to AK41 if you still believe he is an elite back in the National Football League. And Saints fans, thank y'all so much for tuning in to today's video. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe no matter where you are or how you're watching. We always appreciate the Golden Gang for tuning in to our content. So Saints fans, y'all stay golden, and we'll see you next time.